So first of all, thanks everybody for being here. I see a lot of familiar faces and a few faces that I know. Is anyone here for the first time ever? Meaning like DevOps Finland Meetup? Okay, welcome. Nice to meet you. Only one, so we're doing pretty well. My name is Lorenzo. I work for Ax.io, and I'm together with the company the community manager for DevOps Finland. So we just are the people who basically arrange the running of new meetups, which of course would not be possible in any kind of way without the hosting companies. Well, very obvious but very necessary. Huge thanks to PolarSquad for having us.
Yeah.
It is actually my first time physically in the building, and you got a pretty nice office. The pizza was also great, and I'm Italian, so that counts as a big
okay.
Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
I will tell it's a company that.
So yeah, we only have one person who's here for the first time, but just to give a micro recap, the goal of the community is to put together and engage anyone who's interested in cloud. So you do not need to be an engineer. It helps to have good tech understanding. We say the higher your tech understanding, the more you're going to enjoy being here. But the goal is just to create an engaging community, which is non-salesy by default. So no one's gonna pitch you anything. No worries about that. We're gonna have two talks today. One is going to be from our host PolarSquad, and the other one is going to be from none other than Domenico, who happens to be CTO of Ax.io, also the founder, which makes him my boss. So yeah, just in micro brief, the reason why we're here, like I said, we are a DevOps cloud consulting agency, mostly serving startups. We're both expats, like our name suggests. Yeah, and we also share our nationality, but at least we don't have a story of like being cousins or anything. We just met when I was looking for a job about a year ago, and Domenico hired me. If you ever have at any point any questions, comments, feedbacks, things that we could improve or things that you're happy about regarding the meetups, please let me know. Anything. The easiest way to get to me is either Slack or LinkedIn. If any of you is not yet a member of the Slack community, which I guess it's not the case, but if you want to invite a friend or something, just go to the DevOps Finland landing page, put your email there, and you're gonna get immediate invitation to the Slack channel. We're about 4,000 people there, which is crazy. But all informations about the meetups are going to be posted there, or if you have any questions and stuff, that's the place where they go. As a last disclaimer, before we step into the thing, we will not have a meetup in July because I guess everyone's going to be unlucky. But we're going to have meetups from August till the end of the year. Yeah. As a small intro, this is it. Fossi is again one of our hosts, and he wanted also to do some welcoming words. So yeah, Fossi, go ahead.
All right, welcome everybody. I'm Fossi. I'm the non-technical guy at PolarSquad. I'm the sales guy. I won't be selling you anything today, don't worry. Actually, question like you asked, like who's first time in DevOps meetup? Like who's here in this space for the first time? Okay, yeah, because we have many different kind of communities, meetups, and I think few familiar faces that I saw, like you were attending at the Backstage meetup, was it? Yeah. So we had that a few weeks ago. But anyway, like here we are at PolarSquad premises, and also like most of you came through the whole floor. We're also in our parent company, Sevendos Groups. The whole floor is our floor. So we are already like PolarSquad is one part of Sevendos Group. We are like 11 different specialist consultancy groups, and we all work as one. And PolarSquad is, well, like mainly always being like the go-to company when it comes anything to DevOps or platform engineering. And also, I don't know how many did know that the founders of PolarSquad, Erno Aapa, was the one actually who founded DevOps Finland back in the way, I don't know, when was it?
I knew it was him.
Was it 2013, yeah. Erno Aapa, he is like, he is still here, but he wasn't able to come today, but he was the one, like 2013, like, oh, maybe I should make community to talk more about DevOps. And in 2017, he co-founded PolarSquad. And I think few practicalities. We're gonna have two talks today, and we're gonna have a break in the between. There's bathrooms over there. I will also like be here, like whatever you need today. Just like Fossi, help. So there's also bathrooms over there, and pizza, everything. Like eat it, eat it, eat it. It's good, as an Italian here stated. And cold drinks are there. If we run out, we'll get some more. And enjoy, be interested, be curious, have fun, network, and yeah.
I have only two last things to say. The
Yeah.
first one is it's not a practicality, but like a lot of you who have been here a long time, you might be familiar with Mr. Timo Stordel over there, who has retired from community manager, but he's still helping a lot. And he was, for example, the main reason we came here today. So yeah, just wanted to give a shout out to Timo. He's no longer on stage, but he's still like pushing hard and helping us arrange everything. And the second one is we have a photographer, obviously, Christina. She's quite easy to recognize because she carries a camera. If anybody does not wish to be photographed, or if you don't mind being photographed, but you do not want the pictures to be published, because normally we have, social media, LinkedIn posts and stuff. If you do not wish your photos to go public, just let Christina know, and we're gonna make sure that you don't have to do anything that wouldn't make you comfortable. Next up, it's Ferrix Hovi, who's gonna be giving the first talk, but the title is so long, there's no way I remember that, so I have to read it. Do we have Ferrix? Oh yeah, right there he is. So, Ferrix Hovi is gonna give us a talk about AI-assisted MinimumCD frogleap from Gerrit and Jenkins on-premise to cloud, Kubernetes and CD without a burnout. So you can see why I couldn't remember that by heart. But yes, Ferrix is obviously works here. So again, thanks to PolarSquad for having us.
Isn't that obvious?
I don't know. It's yeah, you guys were the company's flag, so
Yeah.
yeah. All right.
Oh yeah, and there's my presentation in reverse, and yes. Oh, okay.
Let's see.
Isn't this great?
Yeah, it's great. Check the frame rate.
Interrupt and ask questions if you like. But yeah, here's the shorter version of what I'm going to do. I'm mostly going to be talking about MinimumCD, actually. Who's heard of it? Okay, a few. Okay, so yeah, more on that later. But yeah, the mandatory slide. Oh yeah, here's Erno.
Yeah.
When he was young and still present. But yes, so me. Oh great. Okay, but I work at PolarSquad. I'm a modern software engineering advisor. Yeah, I got to pick that myself. I'm over 40. I've been programming for over 30 years. I've been doing DevOps stuff for 15 and more years. And I've been professional in the IT in various roles as a developer background for more than 20 years. And I have split my career in several halves. There's been big companies, small companies, 50-50, consultant, internal, 50-50. and then also been working as an internal individual contributor and leading teams. And I'm not the full stack guy. I do found companies, pay the salaries, hire the people, have, yeah. When you run a startup down, you're actually effectively firing everybody. So yes, I've done that. But yes, but I don't do front end. So I do build racks, I do kernel drivers and all that, but no front end, so not full stack. Okay, and then the war story that I'm going to tell you. This is coming from a company called Chatham Inc. So you have an option. It's an anonymous company. Do I tell the name or do you want to hear the story? I hope you want to hear the name so I get to save time. Okay, so they are an established company, 20 plus years in their own industry. So they are obviously doing some things right, which might not be apparent from the following slides. But anyway, they are doing something right. There's an established business. And they are, to keep it very specific, they are a B2B company who are selling their service to B2C companies. They receive data, they aggregate it, and then they send to their customers. The data streams are kind of huge and all that, but practically they are, reading and writing data. And this war story is a work in progress. So I have been working there for a year, and I started with a CI project, which I'm sort of telling about. And then there is a CD project, which is just starting. I think it started like 3 months before it got the official approval to start from the company red tape and so forth. But yes, so the starting point of the journey, pretty much why they called PolarSquad. And they were one of these funny companies that called PolarSquad, like, that's who you call? I don't know why, but yeah, it's practically that we have been going with this current way. The business landscape is changing. For some reason, we have been able to survive with all this, and no more. So there's a few things that they are working on. So there's my thing. So moving from Gerrit and Jenkins to GitLab in 2025. Also, moving from Java 8 to Java 21 in 2026, because that's what you do. Also moving the platform from Windows to Linux. Going from on-prem virtualization to cloud. On-premise product to a SaaS product for their customers. From installation packages, of course they have a custom jar format which has some Python and BAT files inside it, BAT files, and from that to containers. Also, some light usage of Docker somewhere and going to full-flegged Kubernetes clusters as well. Then also going from nightly builds to a minimum viable continuous delivery thing, and that's one of my things as well. And then going from artisan architecture to GitOps and Oracle to anything else. I hear it's expensive. I don't know what they complain about. But yes, so yes, no Gen AI mentioned. So, a traditional company. Of course, the AI policy in June is that you cannot pass more than a sentence of company the information into an AI model, which makes things very easy and fast and traditional. Also, you mustn't create disruption to the development teams by replacing their version control and build system entirely within 6 months. No disruption. Then starting point. So 160 Gerrit repositories, Jenkins builds that are aggregated in a way that there's a commit build which builds 40 different things, and they are all in a nice queue, and there's about 50 plus modules that are built by the same job, which is doing every time the different thing. Of course. Then there are nightly builds for all there's the master, but that's not interesting. There's the release and maintenance branches, which are the interesting thing. Then how a release is made. It is that there's the about 50 repositories. You take a branch with the same name from everything on the same day, and then you freeze and sort of make the branch good while the master is going further and further away. So 50 repositories branched June last year, and yeah, that's fun. Then, of course, version numbers. Who needs them? So instead of having a version number per package, we have this joint version number for the particular maintenance branch, which is the sort of major minor version .0, well, sometimes 1, and then an ID, which is the Jenkins build number. So it means that everything is coupled together into one thing, and that's the nightly build. And whether the nightly build is better than last night's build, yeah, that's the question. And then, of course, there's a build script repository which has the main configuration of Jenkins and all the Groovy scripts that you, of course, want to have for Jenkins, because Groovy is a great language. And that is strictly limited to certain audience only, the team that maintains it. So, for example, the software architects don't have access there, because why should they? Yeah, and then, as said, a 6-month project. There's me, I'm the sort of the technical lead for it. Then there's Joe, who is a dear colleague from PolarSquad. And then there is subcontractor X from company Y. And then there's an internal support promise from Team Z. So that sounds quite nice. Of course, when we start, instead of the 160 repositories, we find 170 more from the Gerrit, which is like, yes, this 6 months timeline is going to hold. No problem. Of course, there was the good news that there was someone in another unit who took like 20 of their own repositories. They are the kind of people who own their own repositories, take good care of them. They had containerized their builds already, and were like, yeah, we had a few chats with them, and then they sort of did their own migration, and that's good news. And of course, the Team Z supporting us, they had allocated one person to support us, who was very busy maintaining the Jenkins because it wasn't stable. Interestingly. Of course, this subcontractor X from Y was what we had a few meetings with them present, and then it was like, I'm going for vacation, and then he was never online after that. I hope the contract ended because it would be really expensive to have them offline and still pay for it. So it's me and Joe for half a year or so. And of course, the 6-month thing was that there was a really important thing from the project management side was that we make a plan that is exactly 6 months. No matter if it's possible or not, it's important to have a 6 months plan. So about metrics, so what was the starting point? So concurrency rate on the Jenkins was that they were about, the builders were kind of busy and they were doing other things than just like processing commits and so, but about 5 concurrent jobs doing commits in a more than 100 people development thing. Then the build time was 1 hour by average. There was the nightly run that was like 1 hour of building, 1 hour of installing the packages to the test environment, and then database verification for 1 hour. On my laptop it took 5 minutes to build anything. Not everything, but anything, so any package. So when one of those commit verification builds that take an hour on my old clunker, not the best laptop. I got an upgrade later on, but not the best laptop, but it was still like 5 minutes. Of course, the Jenkins thing was that the dependency management was that you pull all the repositories to these sibling directories in your workspace, and then they access each other's files. Because that's what you do when you have them checked out side by side. Yeah, and then there was, so that was the first thing what the Jenkins did. Then it did some stuff for minutes, and then there was this green text, not exactly workspace prepared, but anything like to some that extent that the workspace is now done. Let's sleep for exactly 4 minutes. Which is like, if the net time for building is about 4 minutes, then the actual build was still on the Jenkins 5 minutes most of the time. And the net time was 1 hour. So, now of course, flaky tests, who would have guessed? Database verification, yeah, that was a nice thing. Running liquid-based change sets, about 4,000 of them, starting from the version 3, and the product was running at version 18 by then. The support contracts were for 2 years, so 10 years of migrations run every night, every commit. Well, kind of wasteful. And of course, then we can ask, where is the CD? Well, we were quite far from it. Of course, I'll show this. So, minimum viable CD. So this is an idea we had during the COVID years in DevOps Enterprise Summit, which was arranged at my balcony in the middle of the night. So it was the Las Vegas virtual conference. So I was at the balcony so that my wife could sleep because she was going to work early, and I was at the conference. So we did think about why, or there's so many companies claiming that, yeah, we're doing CD, and then whether the D is for delivery or a deployment, well, that they don't know. So we set a sort of minimal practice, like how, when you claim you're saying doing CD, what are the things that you're supposed to be doing? And we got it to a list. Of course, we got this one guy who knows something about the subject, Dave, to as this first signatory, and then Brian Finster and me, who were running those discussions. But yeah, basically, you start with trunk-based development. If you're not managing a single version, it's kind of hard to do CD. Then you do continuous integration, and then you have, for example, the pipeline deciding the releasability of changes, and its verdict is definitive. So, and here, if you're interested, go check it out, and it is available for anyone to sign if you want to join the, well, it's a nice round number, so don't sign it. So yeah, but anyway, then going back to how that matches, and this is the actually the things that which CD practices could I actually by doing the builds for these teams without interrupting the work, which ones I could actually affect directly by making guardrails so that the only passable accepted practice is the one that's the CD. So pipeline is the only way to deploy. Easy to do. Artifactory is not a mandatory part of CD, and it's an awfully glorified web server which has awful documentation. So I'm glad that it's not a mandatory part. But anyway, that's one way, that if the builder, the runner, is the only one who has access to push to Artifactory, then pipeline is the only way to deploy, unless you do things which are not going for Artifactory. But the package signing sort of gets that dealt with. So yeah, that's easy peasy. Of course, continuous integration, not there yet. Yeah, and then having the pipeline verdict definitive. So practically the other thing is that, yeah, the pipeline, when it runs a smoke test or something like that, it gives a definitive answer that yeah, this is deployable. This is through all the mandatory tests. Of course, the verdict might be based on more things. There needs to be tests and all that. And yeah, artifacts meeting the definition of deployable. Well, that's the harder bit, because we haven't had that discussion yet. What's the definition of deployable? So that requires more than just automation. Yeah, immutable artifacts, really easy to do. We compile things once, they get a version number, and they go to Artifactory if they are good enough to go to Artifactory, if they pass the tests. And when you want another build, it gets a new version number, and yeah, that's easily preventable. Then there's hard things like stopping the line when the pipeline is red. That depends on the human nature a bit, and I think here the problem is really that since the GitLab usage has been like a couple of months, it's not something that the people in the teams might actually have a look at. So in some repository that got some dependency upgrade made by Renovate, they might not even see that it's red. So that's the main problem, really. It's not that they yeah, it's easier to care deeply when you know that something happens. production like test environments, yeah, that's the testing. Rolling back on demand, yeah, that's a hard one. But yeah, I guess the sort of containerization, for example, might help with that immensely. Then some things we managed to do with CD. So the work is integrating to trunk at minimum daily. I think this is the same issue as the previous one. So somebody might not see that there's a merge request, especially in the less active repositories where somebody or maybe there's a dependency upgrade that has been blocked. So yeah, that requires a bit of time. Then work has automated testing before merging to trunk. Yes, that's a mandatory thing which we do. And work is tested with other work automatically on merge. Yes, there's after the merge there is another test set run. And again, all feature work stops when the main build is read. No. And new work does not break delivered work. And this goes more into the testing practices. So some things by simply like choosing the right tools can be made the only acceptable way. And then the third thing, trunk-based development. This is pretty easy, and this is where actually this is a good part of a team who's been working with Gerrit. Because with Gerrit you don't push to the master branch directly, you push to a code review, and then it's up to the code review whether that commit to the branch really ever existed. So and also there were some practices that made like not everybody was able to make branches in Gerrit, which is kind of an interesting practice. But anyway, that's something that protected the teams from having like extensively running feature branches and all that. So I guess there's a good side to Gerrit. And then yeah, all changes integrate to trunk. Yeah, that's the one thing where we have that, and then everything comes from trunk and goes back there. So this is easily done. Of course, here's one caveat. While I do like trunk-based development a lot, there's this one thing. I did mention the Java 8 to Java 21 migration. So suddenly that's a really, really good reason to have a branch. Because you need to update the JVM in the target environment. So it's kind of mandatory to sort of, you can't really mix and match those. So that means that these guys are running two branches and it's totally fine. It's the maintenance work that is still bound by contracts, and then there's the mainline work. Then on the subject of AI, because of course we need to mention AI, and this was what saved us. So half a year project, 330 repositories. Kind of hard. So the first thing was which I noticed was that how do I free my hands from doing all sorts of silly things? Well, there was the sort of management and the project manager wanting the 6-month plan and so forth. So that's an easy thing to do. So how do I vibe code something that deals with reporting? So while I do my work, some status gets automatically updated without me ever touching Azure DevOps, which is the kind of DevOps I hate. And then also doing aggressive standardization. So in the beginning there was a single job building things in 50 different ways. No, there's going to be a couple of ways to build. Something is built with Ant. Then there's the Ant variant of the build, and there's a Gradle variant, and then there's a Maven variant. And if it's C++ or Visual Studio, sorry, we're not supporting it. And then another thing of the approach was that I've been creating a lot of tools, CLIs and stuff like that, which is still somewhat conventional automation. They are pretty easy to create. You can one-off something that's almost correct, something that for 300 repositories it solves a certain kind of Windows character encoding or line ending problem for 50 repositories. That's nice. And then I can make another version which fixes it for 50 others and breaks the previous ones. And that way, there were a lot of these things that there's some thing that needs to happen in all the repositories. So let's make a script instead of like prompting the way and repeating the things. And this was a nice thing because I went over my cursor quota for 1 month in a year. And all the other time I was just like, apparently quite conscious about my tokens, which is something that apparently everyone is now interested in, but I've been for a year.
How much was it? How much dollar you spent a month?
Less than 100 a month. Significantly less, many months. And then one thing which helps me process this multitude of things, I created a big classifier thing as the first step. Practically, I went, and this was because of the AI policy. I'm not supposed to put the sentence of company data into an AI engine. So make me a generic Gerrit inventory script that goes through a generic repository list of a generic Gerrit and pulls all the repositories as clones, classifies them using there's the GitHub tool that states that how many lines of code in which language there are. When has this been last edited? How many yearly commits? How many committers? Is there any documentation in the repository? Sadly not. And all sorts of things. And turning these into arbitrary tags. So that first we started with Joe when he was still on the project. There would be the thing that I start with the first step of the process, which is I compile it on my machine, and once I'm done, I push that to GitLab and I tag that particular repository in our big JSON file that it has compiles. And there was a CLI tool that Joe used which listed that give me all repositories that have the compiled flag but don't yet have the CI flag. And that's actually a perfect way to work with an AI agent as well. So beginning state from this list, move them to this list. So compile locally. This is the sort of what we did hundreds of times. Compile locally. This was like one way that get rid of all the dependencies that were built on Jenkins. So run it in isolation. So we have practically a whole code tree with very few exceptions that were never built on Jenkins. It's just like the whole tree of dependencies we built from scratch so that we can reproduce it at will, and we do daily. create a CI job on GitLab, then publish that to Artifactory, and then the Jenkins nightly job, which is a big thing that builds everything every night. We made a little switch there. Like if Artifactory provides this package with above this version number, skip the build. Take it from Artifactory. And then we have this transparent mechanism where it to this date, there are a few tests that start with the oblivious state that on the K drive, the legendary K drive, there is a delivery folder with this version number. And this is where the tests pull in the packages that are installed in the system. So we just reproduce that, but some of the packages originate from GitLab. So that way we weren't really like focusing on any of that stuff. And finally, the most important part, which was really we should not disrupt the work of the developers. So the tombstone commit, when in their Gerrit repository, there's like all the files are vanishing. There's an ant file that does the sort of, it gives a pass and prints that your princess is in another castle, and nothing else in the repository. That was the time like, what did you do? But that was very interesting because when there was of course these tombstone commits needed to be approved by somebody, and they had to go through a test automation, of course. And the test, since there was this nice sibling directory build thing, so it might be that if I've tombstoned one repository, there's some other repository in the same build job that goes haywire, so I can't merge this thing that does nothing. So a few times this happened that like in the 3-hour window when I get this thing fixed and there's someone to approve my commit, there would be someone pushing something in between, and and then you have these weird commits that are not in GitLab. They are in Gerrit, but nobody's using Gerrit. So making these nice signposts that don't work here is really useful. Okay, and then maybe I'll show. This is the made safe version of the reporting thing. The project is not called Skiggebe. It's not. But yeah, the first thing. This is actually the classification. It still has some of the stuff in it. So there's these tags. There's web service descriptions. There's it's been through smoke test. There's external renovate, and so forth. So these are the arbitrary tags. They originated initially from the scan I did over all of Gerrit. Really helpful to sort of see at how many ant-based repositories we have to deal with, how many Gradle-based things, and so forth. Then there's of course these nice incantations. So if I want to clone this repository, I just click to copy and I could go here. Of course, I made a CLI that when I say that what's the next repository that doesn't compile on my machine, it gives me a name for it, and then I put a flag there like pull it, and then it pulls it and also copies it over from Gerrit to GitLab and so forth. And the nice part is that I haven't really looked at the code of this. This was by the request of a developer. I made dark mode. It was 2 prompts. And then, as I said, the project needed to get some status. So pie charts, of course pie charts. And there were these kind of things. And this migrated twice, yeah, this one, of course. Because, yeah, why not migrate hundreds of repositories once when you can do it twice? So this was actually that I first migrated the then master copy, which was the Java 8 version, and of course then we did the same for the Java 21 feature branch, which they don't use a lot, but for some things they do. So I had to do it again with the Java 21 tooling. And yeah, then there's the sort of, but this was actually something where I got rid of the managers already asking. And the one part about this is that, as you can see, it's from my home directory. So this is what I call a single file app. So this is Tailwind, some React pushed into one file, because of course I had the problem that you usually do, that if you want to host a static website in a company, no you don't. So for 3 months, this was the reporting where I had a timestamped copy of this, which I sent to the whoever was asking, until I got GitLab pages to host this for me. And it's still running. And this has been expanding. So then there was the, at some point, the final mile of the project where the sort of, is this migrated or not, ceased to be an interesting thing. Then we added some arbitrary tags and started like looking at, okay, these are the steps that need to be done and followed up. And then there's some verbal reports of like a weekly digest of the thing. And of course, there's also, of course, the documentation is highly classified, and I didn't include it in the demo. But yeah, there's a markdown renderer, so instead of me trying to find my way into the Confluence hierarchy where I don't have read or write access to many places, I'll just publish them on here, and there's the documentation of like all of the things that you need to do in the migration are here. And then there would be reports, which are not here, but this is one of the things where also, like as said, I made a lot of tools. There was one thing which was a recent thing, like a month ago, called GitLab Badger. So digging holes through GitLab, doing mass operations for 100 repositories at a time. Sort of, for example, there is and this is what we've been doing a lot, CI components on GitLab. Sort of like, I guess, GitHub Actions, but reusable things. But okay, how do we deploy the first version? Because there's Renovate is of course maintaining all the internal dependencies, but how do we make sure that all the build files have the mandatory security scanning? Well, we make a badger that reads all the GitLab CI files and injects those dependencies in there, and then it does all sorts of things like, okay, let's read through that there's a regex that enforces semantic versioning or conventional commit messages on reports. Let's make sure that it's monitored, that it stays there for the day. So then, of course, there's all of these nice tools. They need logos, of course, because that's like, just for 2 pieces of rainforest, I get this nice picture. I hope it was built with nuclear energy, which is green. And yeah, so renovate dependency queue. So there's all sorts of repositories, and this is one of the things. Yeah, like people might not be paying attention to the obscure repository where nobody's working week to week, so they are sort of in maintenance mode. But yeah, there's the queue status. So of course, not the actual repository names here either, but this is something that runs nightly and gets reported in here. Then there would be a merge queue. So how many open merge requests? How long are the laggards open? How many are actually approved by something and still not merged? And build statuses, and then there's of course it's all reporting doesn't have to be negative. So there's the top merge request creators by group and all sorts of things like that. And yeah, and then for example the nightly metrics that okay, which repositories don't have the mandatory CI components and scans and all that, which are at breach of policy right now. And of course, the nicest thing, which was that we needed a keyword, because of course it's a nice policy to have approvals for merge requests, but when they are internal dependencies where your colleague was just committed something and now that dependency needs to be updated as a dependency of something else, who wants to do that manually? So then there's a little bot that approves that if it comes from renovate, give it an auto thumbs up, so that it gets accepted. But then when there's the Sunday night fun, where you're the only one working and the production environment is burning, and then having the approval is a damn good idea, right? But of course you need a password to get to the sort of post review thing. And of course, what password could it be? Well, yeah, okay, you type the capital letters swordfish : I'm really in trouble, it's Sunday and the production is burning, and then that gets logged, it gets sent to the after processing log where somebody approves it after the fact. And that's one of the things that we're monitoring. So yeah, that was quite some time. Maybe as closing words, what's next? So I think that due to these little vibe coding tools and using finally getting the permission to use Gen AI extensively and make all sorts of hacks where I'm not typing as much as I would need to process hundreds of repositories, we couldn't have done it without it. It was a 6-month project, delivered in 10, so that's kind of a success. Only 66% late. And now we're continuing with the CD. So there's testing that needs to be looked at. What is a smoke test? What does need to happen before that? What happens after? And then finally there's some decisions that, hey, maybe we need some AI tools for everybody. And of course, one of the things with MinimumCD is that there's agentic continuous delivery. so practically the same approach that works with junior developers who don't know their tools works as nicely with agents. So all the same kind of process that you have a pipeline that instead of making software that's audited, you rather make a pipeline that will pass all audits. So that makes it impossible for your abominations through burning of wild forests would actually break things. So that's the good resource that you can use. And there's a lot of text, and I guess AI has been assisting in this. So, thank you. Sure.
What was the main reason for migrating from Gerrit to GitLab? The main reason.
I think the main reason was getting rid of Jenkins with a lot of baggage. So as said, there's something happening for an hour where the net build is 5 minutes. So that was unmaintainable. It was brittle and so forth. And there were some reductions so that the team formerly supporting that would not anymore. So that's the sort of unmaintainability. So going with a product instead of self-hosted. That was maybe the main reason. As Gerrit goes in the side because it's utterly incompatible with for example, GitLab pipelines.
Right.
Did you encounter some unexpected issues with AI and you had to do something manually?
Well, yeah, plenty of times. Or let's say that in many cases the sort of for me it's like more collaboration than we just like prompt him away. So there's like in some cases, since I review what it writes, not for the dashboard, but for when it's related to actual product code. So then there are many things where I just like I see it, I write it myself, and so forth. And yeah, it doesn't go right all the time. It sometimes goes in a sort of spending too much time where I'm actually like seeing that okay, this is gonna take a while, and then I do it myself. But yeah, it gets things wrong. It's nothing big, and usually having a good test harness helps a lot.
You had the rule not to cause disturbances for the development, so I guess you were working only during weekends.
No, we had our own runners in a Kubernetes cluster while they were working with their less performant on-premise solutions. So yeah, we were actually just about done with, like we had everything building. We had CI jobs for everything when we started with the first team that, okay, who's gonna take the bullet? And that was like not a question of who's gonna take the bullet, but who's in the middle of the dependency chain, who needs to go first, and collaboration is your only option, dear sirs. So,
you mentioned that you did a migration from local virtualization to cloud. Can you tell a bit about that, and specifically what was the motivation?
well, in this case, it's yeah, the as said, well, many things, and that's on many levels. So there's the customer environments being hosted on the cloud, which is a bigger theme in the company in a wider perspective, but the build environments were overloaded, and it was easier to start with. They were Windows machines. We wanted to go with Linux. We wanted to go with Docker, and we like, let's see how far we can go without having a single Windows runner. Now we have one Windows build, which is like one package, which does the installation for everything else, and all the other stuff is built on Linux. So that was like when we had like unlimited cloud resources, so to speak, then that's the thing. And it's also that the, well, since there's Oracle, running that on cloud is expensive. Running it anyway is expensive, but cloud is even more expensive. So then whatever we can do without Oracle can still be run on the cloud. And for example, there we can use spot instances for builds and so forth.
You mentioned in the title without the burnout, but how did you do it when you have so many obstacles along your way?
Be mad to begin with. That's the first thing. If you have like a base level of mental health, if you it was really that taking all of the like the reporting duties and all that away from us, and we were actually in a quite protected thing. There was several months when our collective meeting load was a 30-minute meeting once a week. So we had the peace of mind to work, and then I guess one part of the reporting, there's the manager audience, and then there's us, seeing that, hey, the needle is moving. So that's that. And then also the stuff that we didn't have to do everything manually. We were able to use the nice robots to make smaller automations that do things in scale.
You mentioned that you had 330 repositories, right?
Yeah.
Where they were summarized in 5 CI jobs, right? How many CI jobs?
Yeah, well, there were, I think there were about, like, for each commit there were about 5 different kinds of jobs for a bit different kinds of things. And then there were all sorts of do this, do that. On Jenkins there were like about 150 different jobs altogether, but we didn't have to touch many of them.
Okay, and all of them were compiled into one application, right?
A suite of applications, so about 30 different packages that are somewhat separately installable. Of course, like the database and something like that. Yeah.
If you go back, what did you learn earlier?
Well, yeah, that would be the thing. I would disrupt the teams earlier. So actually, like, and this was sort of a situation where it was really hard to reach the developers at first, and we were working in the dark a bit. So if I knew the developers I know now, I'd be like bugging them with good questions earlier. So this was that was the part of the initial plan that we failed to do for some reason.
All right, so we're gonna have a 15 minutes break. Again, it's not my office, PolarSquad office, but All right, sorry to interrupt your talks earlier and your talks now, but of course there's going to be time to continue meeting afterwards. Thanks again to Ferrix, not physically here, but yeah, well, thanks Ferrix for the talk. Yeah, we're going to have the second talk right now from none other than Domenico Mastrangelo, and there's going to be time later for mingling and stuff if you wish to stay. So, yeah. Only one thing I would like to mention, if you, for whatever reason, would like to rehear the talk or send it to a friend, we are recording everything and it's going to be then put on our YouTube channel. The person to thank for that is Kirill over here, so member of the organizing team, so everything can be streamed, so if you, I don't know, want to revisit the talks and stuff, you're going to go right ahead. But yeah, I'm happy to pass the ball to Domenico, and yeah.
Yes, hi. So this is how we migrate a legacy application and the CI/CD pipeline to Helm chart and ship with ArgoCD. I'm gonna present myself soon, but who here has been running Kubernetes, Helm, ArgoCD? Okay, good. If I get something wrong, just correct me. But yeah. My name is Domenico Mastrangelo, as Lorenzo. I'm from Italy, another side of the country.
How did you like the pizza?
It was very good. I had the Gorgonzola one, yeah. I'm the founder of Axio. We're a small DevOps consultancy agency in Katajanokka. And we focus on on-premises security and compliance. I am a software engineer. I'm a DevOps engineer and the founder and CTO currently of Axio. We are hiring. We're looking for an SDR currently and a senior DevOps engineer to cover some clients that we have. And here's a lot of things I like talking about. If you talk with me about these things, I'm gonna be happy. Kubernetes, CI/CD, on-premises servers, Proxmox, marketing. I like marketing in world languages, networking, system design, and Vim, infrastructure as code, Golang, Rust, Zig, and assembly language. This is now already jumping in the old setup. This is a company who is very heavy on compliance, so it's a bit difficult to have new things going on. And they set up this platform in 2019. So when they set it up, it was a startup. They just got an agency doing everything for them. And they started small. They started with a Terraform configuration and not much more. Kubernetes was handled also inside Terraform, meaning both spinning up AKS inside Azure and handling the Kubernetes resources. This led to a bit of a mess when deploying, especially after 3-4 years when a lot of things were deployed, changes in infrastructure, changes in the application. It became very complicated. But in the old setup, the developers would push their feature branch to develop branch to merge. Then there was a GitHub action that will be called to merge into staging. And another action will be called to run the Terraform files to proceed with the deployment into the staging environment. For production, it was basically the same. With one small change, the developers had to manually run Terraform from their laptops because I didn't want them to destroy the whole AKS environment. So they had to look the Terraform changes in the eyes and like approve them manually. So I knew that they were doing it manually. Because of course, if you don't know, running Terraform, we were running Terraform auto-apply in staging because we cared, but we didn't care too much because we could always recreate the environment. But if you destroy If you run changes that will tear down, for example, K8S in production, it will be quite bad. And these are the type of resources that we're running for Kubernetes, so you can define the actual Kubernetes deployment with the replicas and everything underneath. There were some problems with the old setup. It was very tightly coupled with the deployment of the infrastructure changes. Sometimes you want them, sometimes you don't. Rolling back applications was very difficult. You had to manually go in and change them. Issues will come up randomly where developers were unable to deploy a hotfix as fast as they need to. Sometimes not developers, but the POs will need to change something very fast, as startups often do. So workarounds will develop where the container image will manually be changed inside Kubernetes. You will go kubectl edit or K9 edit, and you will manually change the deployment image. Another issue was that Datadog will not keep track of these updates because the way it was installed, it needed to change all the labels and annotations to keep track automatically inside their platform. And this, sometimes, if you had hotfixes, wouldn't be done. You had secrets, out of secrets and keys stuffed inside GitHub. This would be like to push to the Azure Container Registry to enable that workload to, I don't know, check key vault and things like this, which made it was not automated, so that the credentials were renewed or manually every year or so after somebody noticed and on Teams were like, this is not working anymore. We need to migrate or to renew the keys. And of course, Kubernetes was deployed in a private network behind a VPN. So GitHub also was connected to the inside of the VPN and would be actively changing things, which opened up also some security issues. But yeah, there was also a feeling in general there should be a better way, an easier way, where you don't have to do everything very manually to just deploy some new images. We were called in, we proposed this new setup with Argo, with keeping GitHub, which we had already migrated from Jenkins actually. They already had Kubernetes, they already had everything. We did though package everything up into a Helm chart and shipped it with ArgoCD. Their application is in PHP mainly, some PHP and some Go. And they had a few of them, but we created a Helm chart for each and deployed those. Yeah, so that the developer manual involvement in case of a hotfix or production deployment to converting all the Kubernetes provider resources inside Terraform to a package Helm chart. So you will decouple everything and have Terraform handle infrastructure, Argo handling the deployment of the applications. For those who don't know what's a Helm chart, on the website, helm.sh, it describes Helm as a package manager for Kubernetes. A Helm chart is a package. This is what it looks like. It's just a folder with a chart.yaml templates, which are the definitions of these Kubernetes resources, like a deployment here, a service, a helpers template. This is a Golang template, where you create some functions that you can call inside the various resources to like fill in some variables, like the name of the chart, the labels that you want to maybe replicate, and then we have a values.yaml file which contains all the variables that will be then substituted from placeholders in the deployment chart. I'm going to then show something about it, but this is, if you can see it, yeah, how a values YAML looks like. You can see, you can set, those variables are all custom, they're not pre-written. You can choose whatever you want, you just need to then call it from the Helm chart files. In this case, for example, image.repository, GitHub container registry, etc. The tag will be updated during the CI in GitHub. And then this will be automatically picked up from Argo to create a new release. What's ArgoCD for the people who don't know? Again, from their website, ArgoCD is a declarative GitOps continuous delivery tool for Kubernetes. This is what the, let's call it, homepage looks like for an application. This is another screen from this. This is presentation, now called presentation, but it's the application that I created for the demo that we're gonna have later. Again, same more or less picture. You can see from left to right, the Helm chart, the deployment, the service we defined, the replica sets, and the deployment created, and the pods that are assigned to the current live replica sets. These ones here are the previous replica sets. So you can also revert back to those, but you can see that the pods live are assigned to the latest replica set. This is, if you click on details, you can see some info about the configuration of the chart, but most importantly, the second tab is parameters, which is basically values.yaml. You can override those values in here and save them, so these take over what you set up in the values.yaml inside GitHub. This way, if you have a hotfix, for example, you can just set up the image to a fixed image. Even if you deploy something new, this will be overwritten to always be the hotfix. This way you don't cause, you manage the drifts. But yeah, do you have any questions about this? I have a small demo to show how this works. Hopefully it works, because I have this. I think I have to move somewhere. Yeah. I have a nice Fedora image inside inside macOS to run this, but the time's always okay. Now it's correct. It's 7:13, because if the time is not right, this doesn't work. But as you can see here, everything is already deployed because I wanted to make sure that it worked. Actually, this failed horribly, like 30 minutes before coming here. So I spent like 15 minutes in panic trying to fix everything. But if we go from the beginning, this is a simple Go application. It only listens to the root here and serves a hello page service or a hello page page. You can see I can actually increase the size. You can see here, this is the Helm chart. This is chart.values or chart.yaml. This is values.yaml. Service, which you can see has the handlebar templating. This is straight from Golang. deployment is the same. And helpers is here, you can see define, go hello world full name, and this is basically the whole function. If contains release name, else this, etc. This will just then be called, for example here, include go hello world, select all labels, so you don't have to write them every time you have, if you have multiple labels is an excellent example of it, as are annotations where you include them maybe everywhere in your Helm chart, so you can have like application name to be the same everywhere. And then it's packaged with a normal Docker file building. It's from scratch, so it's very little, very small. But this is already actually deployed here. This is the application K9. This is running on K3S on my VM, so it might be a bit flaky, but let's see. These are the pods. And you can see here we have the application. ArgoCD, this actually, if you don't expose it with an ingress or something else, you can just forward this to localhost and access it locally. I've already done it here, so that's why you can see this page here. And I should be able to use localhost. Oh yeah, there's no ingress. But let's go back here. Here you can see inside GitHub. I have the code here. I already created a package, which is this. Package is just a Docker image build, and this is the workflow that runs. The flow is simply, if I go here into the image, or into the code, and apply a change like hello PolarSquad. Very not written correctly. Okay, git add dot git commit and push. Am I connected to the internet? Yes. Yes, git pull. No result hostname github.com. Okay, not connected to the internet.
By the way, in the meantime,
Yeah.
I'm just curious, was it like I see people taking pictures? You're streaming this to YouTube. Is the recording from the same link available afterwards?
Yes, when we're done with streaming, I will edit the videos and upload them separately.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to see that, then don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah. So I also like something like that, just take pictures, but it's it's gonna be the full thing, and where it's like you edit and then you post it.
Yeah,
Okay.
just regular videos separated into 2 talks.
Okay. Cool.
I'm just trying to reconnect to the hotspot. Okay. So is it working now? Yeah.
I think you could try doing like a manager request.
Yeah. What is it again? Git
Just request.
rebase. Thank you. Okay. So then, if we see here, this has started. This is a pretty simple build and push pipeline. You can see it here. It doesn't have anything really complicated besides like permissions, the jobs to QEMU to build for different architectures. It has cache, builds the image and pushes it directly to GHCR. It will take a second, but in the meantime, I can actually put this. Unfortunately, I have to turn my face all the way. Put this here. Put this here. This is set up to auto sync from values.yaml. And values.yaml here will change because, as you can see here, the last step, the very last step, will update here, commit and push values.yaml file. So as soon as this finishes, that will be automatically updated, and I can then show here that this will be replaced. This now is maybe it's easier once it's finished, but this usually takes 2 minutes. Unless GitHub is down today too, so let's see. But in the meantime, if you have any questions. I can actually show you here. Just make it bigger for the ones in the back. Here you can see the last sync has been successful 2 hours ago. And you can see the page that I was telling you about before, where you have your parameters, you have your values file that you specify if you have a custom one, and you have all the variables here. So you can just go here, edit it, and set a new one. And that will be it. It will be automatically synced and synchronized with Kubernetes. You can see your history here. So you can see all the deployed versions. You can just as easily here revert to it. So you click like the last version good, like the last good version was 3 hours ago, go here, roll back, everything will be taken care of automatically. And as another point, maybe, since we're waiting, application is created here, just new app, and you configure it. This one has been configured with a GitHub application. So here you can see repositories. This one is connected. If you connect one, you have different choices: the SSH, HTTPS, GitHub app, Google Cloud. So it's not too difficult to use. Some people might prefer Flux, for example, or other tools. For me, this ArgoCD is just easier because it has a very user-friendly UI, which I agree, you might as well just learn how to use the terminal to do it. But most POs I've met don't agree with me. They don't want to use the terminal. They just want to click rollback and be done with it. So this is very usable by everybody really in the team, especially nowadays with AI. Everybody's doing a bit of everything. And GitHub doesn't like building this one. It took 7 minutes, 6 minutes. So we just have to wait 1 more minute.
Was it like for compliance reasons that you have the image tag in the Helm chart, like in the file, in the version control?
You mean compared to having it in another repository or something?
I think the way I have done a similar thing was that there was like a timestamp in the Docker image tag, and then Argo just checked what is the latest timestamp available.
Yeah, you can also do it like this. This is the easiest in a way to set up and to wrap your head around. For this is, for example, the workflow we've done for this team, and in this team the developers are not very DevOps friendly in that sense, so they just want to be able, as much as the PO, to go to the Helm chart or to the GitHub repo, modify the values and commit, and that's it.
Also easily leads to the situation you had with just now, that there was there's extra comment in there.
Yeah.
Because it does the comment.
Yeah, I have to check it, honestly. Yeah. But yeah, this finished. This should now, I can force it a bit. Yeah, it actually was very fast, but it's progressing, and you can see it synced and it succeeded a few seconds ago. So this is the latest version. All it took was the time that it takes to build it for multiple platforms. But then it saved these people a lot of time in not having to do it manually and in not risking mistakes and similar. Yeah, what we solved, no more manual deployments, rollbacks are as easy as clicking a button in the UI as I showed you. Git is the source of truth, so everything that you have in Git is what will be live. There's no going around it in a way. Both production and staging deployments follow the same pattern. This was huge for them because the production deployment will take half an hour, 45 minutes maybe, depending on the developer time, the developer knowledge of the platform, of how to run Terraform, etc. So this streamlined everything quite a bit. Considerably reduced the maintenance overhead. Also this one, being ArgoCD that goes out of its way and pulls the values of the YAML file for the changes, you can block everything from going into Kubernetes. So the VPN doesn't need to be in GitHub anymore. The Azure, the only secrets that still are inside GitHub are for pushing to Azure Container Registry. And that's just one IAM role, given ACR pool, and that's it. Increase deployment velocity. Now, as you can see, you can deploy 5-6 times a day, just the time that it builds and pushes, and then it's automatically live. Accidental drift is automatically corrected. This is also another thing. If you go in and change the image by mistake or maliciously inside Kubernetes, ArgoCD will automatically detect it and roll it back and try to sync it and put the correct one. But yeah, this was pretty quick, but yeah, again, this is me. If there's no questions, I can get a bottle of water. But if there are, I'm happy to answer. Yeah.
What considerations can make us a more reliable engineering production? For instance, in Kubernetes, I think observability is very important.
Yeah, observability is a lot in Kubernetes. You have to. There's a lot to keep track of in Kubernetes between events and container logs and RBAC and access and everything. And it's very much of a complicated platform by itself. So I will try to focus on mastering Kubernetes part by part, because it's a lot of it. I also don't know everything about Kubernetes. I know most of it, as you saw from the beginning. I am a bit of a generalist. I like to do a bit of everything, software engineering and DevOps. So yeah, I think just caring enough to check the documentation and check the best practices around it and what others did before you is already a lot, because there's always the pull to try and fix and create something before you actually know the environment fully, which might drag you down in the later stages when everything is working and suddenly it's not, and you don't really know why it's not working. But yeah, if that answered your question. Hi, I'm sorry, I was looking just there.
So you mentioned about the Helm chart. How do you manage the different Helm chart you are going to deploy into, for example, the developer environment and the production environment?
Yes.
Do you use the same kind of folder or repo for different environment, or use totally different files?
No, for this one, for example, I'm just going back to here. For this one, you can, if you have different Helm charts for different applications, you can just deploy them. If you have one Helm chart for different environments, you can set up ArgoCD as a standalone software inside its own VM or Kubernetes and manage multiple different environments. The way we've done it here is a bit different. Here we have two different environments completely isolated inside their own virtual network, inside their own VPN. So we just installed ArgoCD in both Kubernetes clusters. And then we have, I can show you here, we have values.yaml. Applications, details. Here for this values.yaml, we just have one called values and minus production, one values minus staging for the little drifts that there are in staging and production. Because sometimes it's best if you have everything the same and just one YAML file, but in this case we had two separate ones, and the pipeline will decide which one to update during the run. So when it was deploying staging, it would update the image on the staging values YAML and vice versa.
So you have to, the developer has to take the responsibility to keep track what change has been put into the...
Well, no, like in this case it was easy because we have a push to staging action. So whenever you click push to staging, the deployment happens, but the deployment already knows it's pushing to staging, so it will build and edit for staging. And then we have deploy, like the final one, which will be only for production. So the only thing the developer will have to do is click push to staging or click deploy. We created via GitHub releases in this case, so it was a bit easier.
Do you use any release tag to test the...
Yeah, we use something similar to this. You can see the image tag. In this case, it was, we couldn't use min, max, min, etc. Like the classics tag. We used the canonical style, which was year and day, like 2026, month 06/16.1 to be like deployment number 1 of the 16th day of June. So if you deploy 5 times, you will have 2026 06 16.5.
Is that the version for the Docker image, or
Yeah.
is that the version for the chart?
No, for the Docker image.
So
For the chart, you will just change the chart version whenever you change the chart itself. So like you modify the deployment, or you add an ingress or things like that, you will upgrade the chart version. There's still one thing you can upgrade, is the application version inside the chart. If you specify, it's just metadata in that sense, but you can update the application version. Okay. Thank you.
Don't worry, I'm gonna be super mega brief with very quick closing words. So if your company or the company you work for would ever be interested in hosting a meetup, please let me know. Again, the quickest way to get to me is Slack or LinkedIn. August, September, and October, we already got venues, but from November onwards, we can accept requests. What we do not have scheduled yet are all the talks, so if you're interested in giving a talk, it's also, you can just let me know. I'm going to send you a Google form that you can kind of fill in with the topic of the talk, and has been said a few times already, but yeah, thanks for having us at PolarSquad.
It was a pleasure having you.
That's it from us, thanks.
Yeah. Where was it, like, if I want to go and like see the recording, like there's a link in the meetup agenda?
Yeah, there is a link for the actual stream. It's gonna be the whole recording in the live section on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And then later during this week, I will also upload the separate videos. The docs.
Okay.
So you can find it.
All right. But hey, there's still more. I think few drinks. Like you can still stay here.